So hey friends, glad to have you back to the MesoVerse. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about environmentalism, Agenda 21, the good, the bad, how we can take back control of it, and how we can flip the script a little bit. So instead of it being like super negative and super bad and, you know, absolutely horrible, we're going to do a little bit about flipping the script. So hello guys, I'm gonna jump up into the other room and say hi to everybody up there that's waiting for me. Hello gentlemen.
Hey.
Hi.
Today
Hello, friends.
we have Golf and Mark and Yam with us today on this lovely 8th day of July. So how was your gentlemen's? How was your days? Anything exciting with any of you?
I got a little bit stressed and over enthusiastic just about 5 minutes ago, planning with some of my buddies that they put too much stuff in a particular chest that I was annoyed about. That's probably the most passionate that I've got so far today, wasn't it, guys? It's the most I've spurged out so far today.
Yep.
Other than that, I've been fine.
Was this part of your Minecraft thing?
Yeah. That's just I've not been doing much today, must be said. But
So were you asking about the 4th of July holiday onwards, or were you talking about
Whatever you would, any in that category. If there's if you have a story, if you have something you'd like to share, then I am interested.
Yeah, I better tell my story before I forget it, but I won't forget it. Remember last time? I don't know if we even had the show. We might have just had a private conversation, but we talked about the birds,
Yes, I do.
and I think that might have been a private conversation between you, me, and Mark, and maybe a couple others. But the other two did pass away
Okay.
within probably less than 36 hours after we spoke. So it was that I spent the night. So in the middle of that night, I don't know if you've heard about this, but like the thing between sleep and awake,
Okay.
that you maybe your soul or your third eye or something about something we can't explain can contact another realm.
Yes.
And I
Well,
suppose there's some
yeah.
people that are super powered that can do it on purpose.
You know,
Okay.
it's just different levels of consciousness, and they blur in that realm. They blur when you're waking up, and normies often are able to do the thing that Doc can do at will, but they just do it occasionally when they're waking up, and they've just not bothered to learn to do the thing that anybody can do. It's nothing to. It might be something to do with magic and hocus pocus, and things
It's
that
woo.
we don't know, or yeah, it's woo. We don't know what it is, but
Well,
we don't know.
Yeah. The stuff I've heard you guys describe and the stuff I've heard, like, a little bit of Joe Rogan describe, like in the deprivation chamber, and the stuff that various others, like Mark and a few others, and way back in history, were describing on, like, ayahuasca, and maybe even some stuff you've read about that's, like, beyond that or something. It's like... So we knew, Doc, you and I talked about it, and we were like, I kind of know, I feel and I know that this is going to happen. So when I got there to the house, in the middle of the day, of the four birds, two had already passed away, and I kind of saw her kind of putting them away. And then there was two that were still alive, and they seemed in pretty decent shape. But again, I took into what you were saying and the fact that they've been exposed to the cold and this and that, and away from the mother and whatever. So that night we're sleeping, and it's like 3:30 in the morning. She wakes up to try to feed them. One's okay, I told the story backwards. I'm sorry, I screwed up that part. Okay, it's midnight, or before midnight we go to bed. The birds seem fine. The two birds left seem fine. Somewhere between 2 and 2:30 in the morning, I'm like asleep, but part of my subconscious or my consciousness is trying to wake up, and I literally was trying to wake up, and in my, somewhere deep in my probably REM sleep to that underneath sleep right above that, I knew in my that subconscious level of mine I was trying to wake up. So I felt like I was trying to open my eyes, but I guess I either wasn't, or my eyes were either stuck together, or I was dehydrated and they were glued shut. I have no idea. It was some weird version of that, but maybe I could see out of what they call the pineal gland, my third eye, whatever, and I literally saw the second to the last bird that was going to die, his soul flying up, because I could see the image of the light that was like a very light ultrasonic light that was coming out of the frame door of the bathroom, which was pretty close to me. And this bird, this little tiny baby bird soul, just you could see the energy. It was like Daredevil describes his radar, flying up, kind of, it was tiny too, like it was flying up like at the edge of the ceiling, and it flew out of the structure. But in that matter, like all this happened in a matter of less than 2 or 3 seconds, and then I was finally able to actually rip my eyes open into full consciousness, and it was like this weird thing. And she got up to check like less than an hour or so later, and that bird had passed away, but I already knew it. And then the other one passed away sometime probably about 6 or 7 in the morning or something like that, early. It was just, it was really weird, and it was like I'd never seen or felt anything like it before in my life, and it wasn't because I was like projecting anything, because when I went to bed, I was having total faith that they would live, even in spite of what you'd said, because of various other things, and just trying to wish that it would be better or whatever.
Yep.
It was just so, and the fact that I'd bought some special food that was like, I went really out of my way, with everything I did financially, finding the right kind of food and this and that, and she really went out of her way to really every 2 or 3 hours during that entire day following the exact instructions on hopefully what would make them live or whatever. And it was so sad, but at the same token, it gave me hope that there is the other side that we absolutely can't see, 99.99.99% of the time, except for maybe in, like I said, Mark's ayahuasca thing or something that you're able to manifest. And that one little thing I've had in there after more than half of a lifetime. Now I've seen that, so I have like this other faith now. It's really cool.
Well, then maybe the whole event happened just for you, just so you could have that experience.
As sad as that is for those little guys, I feel like they're in a better place.
Well,
But I feel like it was maybe that was meant to happen, like you said.
well, I mean, when you say sad, I mean, there's a purpose for everything in life, and sometimes the purpose
Right.
isn't. Sometimes the purpose, isn't what we think. Like, that cabbage
Right.
that you might be eating tomorrow. The purpose of that cabbage is to be in your belly. That is the purpose of. If you're eating the cabbage, it was there. It was meant for you to eat it. Is that sad? No, it's really spectacularly cool. So maybe, those baby birds were in that particular nest, and they were there for you to have that experience, so that you could, it was getting you down a path that you needed to be down.
Kane, you've leveled up, bro. That's what it is. Kane,
Yeah,
Kane
leveled up.
level.
Maybe a half a level. I'm pretty high. No,
Okay,
my level's not my. I don't do drugs. I'm good.
A half a level. Okay,
Doc's
so
like, what are you smoking, man?
So you half a leveled up. Okay, cool.
Well, that's pretty good though. I mean, I thought I maxed out almost. I'm not going to max out. You're maxed out. I'm scared. I'm scared of maxing out, to be honest with you.
Nah,
That's
I'm not.
that's why you only leveled up half a level.
Yeah, no. Oh well, but that's
Because
really good
you
though.
think-
And
Because
the
of
other
all the
thing, too, is
things
that-
that you've said in the last 20
I
seconds.
think maybe I can talk to her about it now. I think maybe she's got, because she really wanted to live, and I think she had more, and she's been able to do her little yoga and other classes that she had this week a little bit, but she's also had some couple days, including tonight, where she's so exhausted she can't even do anything. She just goes home from work and takes a nap, and I think it just exhausted her,
Mm-hmm.
in a way. I think she doesn't like to talk about it, whereas me, I'll talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it and upset her, so I wait a while. Like I may wait, at least till this weekend or something. Uh-oh.
No, that's cool.
My brother just, why does this always happen? My brother just texted me that some friend I went to high school with that he knows he's close with, and they're just killed over, not dead of a heart attack, but he's pretty close to dead. This is not good. Unbelievable.
That's the life is all about reminding you how precious, short, and exciting it really is.
Right.
And all of that is really, these are great things to be adding to when of how I want to explain about today's topic is the trouble with environmentalism, and how everything that this story that Yam just spread, how it actually plays a role in everything of this as well, and how this current realm of environmentalism, how it's just, they've kind of got lost. They've lost the script, and they are forgetting about the experiences like that Yam just described. They're forgetting about the experiences of being alive and things being alive and enjoying things, and they're so filled with fear and hatred. And that's also why I want to talk a little bit about Agenda 21. And I think it's time that we take a page out of the elite and the lefties playbook, and we start taking back the term Agenda 21. We hear Agenda 21, and we keep thinking that means that we have to live by their rules. Well, we can have our own agenda. It's not you have to follow our Agenda 21. It's just there's an agenda. Well, having an agenda for the future is actually a really good idea. Like, we should be planning, we should be putting steps and planning for the future and trying to make the future better for us and our children and the future generations. And so that would require us jotting down an agenda, things that we want to accomplish in our life, things that we want to do. So instead of instead of allowing them to use the language and use the words in a negative way, we start taking control of Agenda 21. How do we want to see the world in the year 2100? Like, I've got some pretty strong ideas of how I want to see the world, and I think my friends do as well, on things that they would like to see the world improve. And I think that we need to, anytime someone says Agenda 21, instead of, immediately throwing up our arms and being angry, just as they would to us as conspiracy theorists, we need to start saying, well, yeah, here's what we want. Here's what Agenda 20, here's what we want to see. We want to see endless amounts of abundance. Mark probably wants to see free energy. Mark's probably totally in the idea that by the year 2100, everybody should have access to quote-unquote free energy. And that's just very inexpensive to make energy. So. And we also need...
I'd like to see truthers now being the canary in the coal mine that they're supposed to be. And, we've had, a year and a half of COVID now, and we should be getting together and saying to the normies, look, you said we were crazy. Well, one of the things we've been talking about all this time is this thing called Agenda 20, Agenda 21. And now they're actually really doing it under the guise of this COVID thing that you call us crazy for talking about, but it really is something that we've been telling you about, and now it's happening.
And here's the steps that's going to happen.
We can't let them do it in plain sight. The New World Order can only be truly evil if they're doing so in plain sight. So they want to be able to tell the conspiracy theorists, look, we're going to do this thing. It's going to be called Agenda 20, and then do it and actually call it Agenda 20. They need to be able to do that to have true power, right? And we just need to not let them, and we can do that now, and we kind of are, and it's going to happen. It's inevitable that message is going to get through. But
well, and one of the ways to flip the switch is to use their language. Is to start making things that we want to see happen in that same words, just like they did to us, just how they co-opted conservation, and just how they've co-opted environmentalism, and just as they've co-opted, sustainability. Those are all words that as humans are very good, We should conserve things. It's a good idea to not, waste things. I think everybody can agree on that. It's a good idea for the environment that you live in it to make it kind of nice. I mean, hence the reason we have air conditioning and heating and cooling and windows and blankets and clothes, because we want our environment to be nice. It's the same thing with sustainability. It's a good idea to be able to sustain yourself for a future. The problem is they've co-opted those words. They've taken those words out of intelligent people's mouths and put them in dumb people's mouths and started twisting around the meanings of them. Well, it's time for us to start doing the same thing. If they want to start talking about Agenda 21, great, we talk about Agenda 21. Here's what we want. If Agenda 21's real and you want to start moving stuff forward, okay, so we're all going to start moving to electric cars. So are we going to start moving to nuclear then? Or is there some other type of free energy that we're moving to? Because if we're all going to move to electric cars, but we're going to get free energy, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not having to pay to power my car because there's some new awesome power source. Okay. Yep.
They want to be able to meter it, Doc.
I know. And so what we have to point out is they're already metering it with gasoline. Everybody has smart meters on your house. If your smart meter is then attached to your car, then your smart meter in your car knows everything about you. Mm-hmm. So if that's what you don't want, we can't say, no, we don't want our cars to be, electric and more environmental, but we can say, but we want our cars to be affordable. We don't want our cars to be linked to the same thing that they're watching us for. It's the same conversation that we have with people that talk about, Bitcoin and crypto and that kind of stuff. everybody's big on crypto and everybody's big on these particular things, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about coins like Monero. Well, why does the government need to know how many coins you have? Monero already proves that they don't need to. Monero is proof that two people can exchange currencies, a third party can facilitate it, and no one knows who translated which money to who, but the transaction goes through flawlessly. So we don't need all the other, maybe if there's if you want to choose to make sure that there's a receipt when you go from point A to point B, that's okay, but we don't need that.
Don't need the bankers.
Yeah, we don't need the bankers. But we don't need most of the middlemen.
It's possible to get from the water to the shore without going through the bankers.
Yes. And that scares them now.
Why are you wearing that hat?
Why not? Because it's fun.
It's got two birds on it, though, right?
I don't know. It's like a split bird on it hanging out.
It's two birds in a nest or something.
Two birds in a nest. It's exactly for you, Yam.
Have you worn that before? I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I've worn it before. I've worn it before. It's funny though. I just grabbed it just before
on the show.
Maybe a year ago.
You've had the hat on for a year? No.
No. I had the hat on a year ago, possibly. But I've had the hat. Yeah, no, this is a hat made in Mexico.
You didn't, because I mentioned to you about like an hour or two ago that we might talk about the birds.
No,
you didn't just grab the hat.
No, I had.
You already had the hat on all day.
Yeah, I had the hat on since then. Yes, I had the hat.
Yeah, I felt like when that happened, there was just, this past weekend when that happened, we talked about it before the thing that happened to me that I hadn't told you yet, which I just told you. Like, I just felt like there was some synchronicity about that whole thing. It's just like you said, maybe it was meant to happen, sad as it was. Weird. Because I've never seen anything like that before, ever. I mean, it was weird. It's like a blue energy realm with images, but I wasn't perceiving it. I realized today I didn't actually perceive that through my eyes. I perceived it with some other perception, like Mark talked about, like somehow some kind of energy receptor or something. Mm-hmm. It's very weird.
The third eye is what you hear a lot of people refer to it as.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I hadn't done anything weird at all. Like, I didn't even eat anything weird that day. I was not hallucinating. I wasn't lacking sleep. I hadn't just gotten beaten up by Mike Tyson.
Do you have dreams?
No.
Have you ever had a dream?
Well, yeah.
So when you can wake up and remember, I can remember like seeing pictures when I was asleep. Right, you can remember that, can you?
This was totally. Right. This was I literally woke up like a second after this, like fully, like, and I didn't get up.
Why do you think that the experiences are different?
Because we're all connected.
Because I remember trying to open my. I remember it felt like the inside of my eyeballs were burning. Like, I tried to actually, like, if I could have got my hand up to try to rip my eyes open, I would have. Like,
have you not had a nightmare where that sort of shit happens to you?
Not really, not that kind. It was totally different. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was totally different. It wasn't.
It was more lucid.
Yeah, that was.
It wasn't like a dream or a nightmare at all. It was actually.
It was the same thing that happens to you when you're dreaming, but you're seeing it from a different level of perception than what you normally are. You're much closer to being awake than what you normally are when you had a dream. Doc can do it when he's awake.
Yep.
Like fully awake.
Has Doc ever seen a dead animal soul that just happened? Like,
Doc can probably make a dead animal appear in front of him if he wants to.
No, I mean...
Come on, I'm not joking.
You're controlling me slightly.
Right. I'm not. No, I mean, not really. No.
That's part of the reason why I can't kill anything is because I can't be the life energy. The life energy for me hurts. Like, that's why I do think it's important for me to spend time at something's last minutes. So, like, if I can be in the presence of something as it dies, there is an energy. But it also, for me, I don't see the colors that you do. But that's just probably because I don't I don't seek them out, but I can feel an energy.
That's
And
the other
that
thing. That's
energy
the other thing.
hurts. It hurts.
I had a pet that I
Mhm.
vaguely talked about with you years ago. From like say 2000 whatever 2002 or 2001 to like 2000. I do remember the dates, but I'm just not saying it. But it's like, yeah, he lived till, let's just say, 2011 or 12, and he died in my arms.
Mhm.
And it was I don't want to say it was horrific, but it was like I went in and got him out of his room at 6 o'clock that morning, like kind of surprised that he was still alive. I thought he might pass away overnight, and brought him in with me and held him for
And
another,
the reason
maybe
you
say,
didn't,
hour or something like that way. But like I didn't see any soul,
yeah,
and I
but
guess I couldn't have seen it if I wanted to at the time, because I was, like I said, 6 o'clock in the morning. I was wide awake. I hardly slept at all that
no,
night, knowing,
no.
worrying
The
kind of.
reason you didn't see the soul that time is you were too connected with it. You were too worried about
Oh,
the last little bits of experience with something that you loved. Those birds
oh,
you didn't have the same level of love to, and so there was
uh-huh,
there was just enough separation for you to be able to observe it from a little bit more of an outside. And
oh.
that's why you were gifted with
So
being able to see that.
so when your pets passed away, could you see this thing or not really,
I
or
can't.
feel it, or?
I can't. I can always, when something dies, when
Hmm.
energy is left, I can feel it, and then depending on my interconnection with it, how different it feels. But um,
Okay.
no, no, energy leaving this realm has a very distinct feeling, and it probably has a very distinct color. Um,
Hmm.
it's the
Yeah, I
same.
wasn't
It's the
able
same
to.
thing. I don't
It was
have.
kind of like it was so veiled. There was some. I think it was a little bit bluish, but again, it was so radar energy like. But the image was, and it wasn't like stark. It was like I couldn't make out exact features, but I knew like that's not a human, and it wasn't like a Ghostbusters thing.
Mhm.
It was a small bird. It, you know.
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight after this.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean.
I'm not trying to ruin your life.
Ah!
It was. I know he's gonna go over, like, start eating deer while they're still alive or something.
No, I mean that's
Have
what's
that
cool.
conversation.
That's the thing is everybody's gonna have slightly different experiences with that, depending on which part of your senses are more tuned. Like I said, I can
Hmm.
feel like when it comes to auras, and I don't spend a lot of time focusing on auras because they don't intrigue me as much as they do other things. But I can feel auras. I can't see them. I can feel what color they are, but I can't tell you. I can't. There's nothing I see that visually I could tell you what color it is. But I have a feeling of what color it feels like. But again, I don't in most cases, unless it's like life and death, or like something really, there's a reason to know the auras. I don't, you know, I mean, I think it's cool that people can like meet somebody and they can be like, "Oh, your aura is red," and I mean that's cool, I guess, but that just doesn't really intrigue me in the way as in like meeting somebody that's going through some type of like like that's amped up on like emotion or pain or sorrow. And then for me, then I can, not only can I feel the color, but like I can start to have an understanding of what's going on in that scenario.
So,
And then like,
so you think it's possible that at least half those people are telling the truth, that some of them are just BSing? Or
no,
They,
they'll probably,
they can see it. Some
yeah,
of them can definitely see it. Whether or not it's just the same thing as when you dream.
yeah.
And yeah, your mind can make you see anything that your mind wants you to see. That's a fact, that's true. Whether or not there's also a thing that when you're in that state you can actually see these auras and they're actually real and it's actually a thing that exists like that, maybe. I don't think so.
I mean,
I'd
some
like to
people may
believe
just have a
that,
different
but
type of intuition or
no,
sensitivity
I put it this
towards
way.
things
So
like that.
when people are seeing auras, when people's like, "Ooh, your aura's red," or something like that, one of two things happening.
Hmm.
Okay, they're either tricking their mind so much it's like they're doing drugs, and they're seeing something that they want to see, just as like someone taking acid and wants
uh-huh.
to see something, or they actually are seeing something. But what's so crazy is the way our mind is right now. There's no way to prove which is real and which is just yourself manifesting something you want to see.
And more
Yeah, because I'll tell you,
interestingly,
I definitely didn't want to see this. I definitely didn't want to see this. But
yeah,
like you
well,
said, maybe I was removed far enough away from it and open enough to it and isolated far enough, and it's in the weird state between, or pretty much under that weird state of not being like passed out dead asleep, but somewhere in that in the
Okay.
between of possibly being able to be awakened enough to, or whatever.
So
But yeah.
Lisa just brought up a point. She says sometimes when you see the color, it's because the color's attached to a particular emotion. And so she can see, when she sees or feels someone's color, it's, you know, she can clearly see what emotion and such it's attached to. But she says then sometimes there's just other people she just can't. So she doesn't know why some people it is and some people it's not. It's, you know, that's why I put that in the woo category. I can't it's not, I don't know any way to prove that it's true or not true. And then when it comes to something that someone experiences in their own mind, like, how can we, if someone experiences something in their own mind, how can we then say that something like that's not true?
Because
Yeah,
dudes that say that they can do it, because dudes that say that they can do it have been repeatedly called out and offered money to prove that they can do it, and they never can. Like, I've delved that rabbit hole. I think that seeing auras is bullshit. It's just the same. Well, like, I saw UFOs in the sky. I can lucid dream, look out of a window, and I know I'm going to see UFOs. Like, there are dudes that think that they can see auras, and when they get themselves into that state, they look at people and see auras. To think that those dudes are something different, doing something different than what I'm doing when I see the UFOs, or when I play Minecraft in my mind, some unique thing that, you know, humans can, like, sense a color and other human beings. Now it's just embedded into folklore, and because of that, people that are into the kind of shit that we're into, the woo that we're into, they think that it's like a magic power thing. They think it's like a hierarchy thing, and like oh, I've gained this ability now, I can do that. I wonder if I'll be able to raise objects off the ground and move them around soon. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that.
No,
Your brain just makes you see what you want to see to some extent.
Well,
And if you're wise, you'll be able to see through that and use that. And if you could really do that, then you get powerful.
Well, and I agree. I think that when you're trying, I think that, like, for example, in something like Yam's case, you know,
I wanted to shake her awake and tell her what I saw, but I was literally like shaking, trying not inside, like trying not to say anything, because I knew she would shit herself completely.
It's your mind and your body connecting, bro. It's the Trinity.
Yeah, that's, you know, yeah, that's a, you know, that's a rare.
Your mind, body, and your spirit. Your mind, body, and your spirit. We don't know what the fuck its spirit is, but it's the thing that holds the mind and the body together, and you need all three of them. If one of them leaves, you're fucked.
You got to see, or, you know, another way I've heard someone refer to it is you got to glimpse a fabric of life.
Well, David Icke always says that thing about holographic reality, and that we're here, and the way he describes whatever the hell he describes. You know what I'm talking about? Like, what he's describing, that kind of, that's what that is. Am I wrong? What I saw?
No. David's talking nonsense with his holographic universe nonsense, and he knows it.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, isn't it like a metaphor for what really is beyond, though?
I mean, if you want to use it as a metaphor, then yes, I'm more okay with the holographic. But if you want to use it as, like, science-based or technology-based, no, it's crap. But a metaphor, so we can understand something better, sure, I'm okay with using it.
I think if we can change his words just slightly with some WD-40 or something, we can say that's the actual soul, the real, whatever that God stuff and all that, and the soul and all that other stuff really is. Like, that's, we can just translate those few words for what he's describing. And
he isn't Jesus. He's not right.
No. I didn't say that.
He's pretty close to Jesus. He's, you know, he's wrong about a lot.
If you just listen to a lot of the stuff he says, as long as it's, well, I mean, even the stuff about the COVID-19 crap, if you just listen, sometimes even just listen to him, like, as you're fading off to sleep, or whatever. If you just, you don't always have to, like, analyze, because I know you're super analytical, and I used to be that way too, and I still kind of am, but if you can just, like, listen to the gist of it and get, like, the feeling that he's putting out, it's just like this, it's just like this otherworldly, like, other level of caring about humanity in a bigger, better way, I think. But, you know, sort of like the way Doc cares about everything being, like, organic, and
I mean, the thing
caring
is,
about the environment, and not like slaughtering animals, and being more like a vegetarian. I'm not really sure if that's what I meant, but you know.
I mean, the thing is, Yam, there's it's what you're describing is not, being, you know, more, vegetarian or more, caring about animals. It's what we've always had. It's what we do have. It's just, um, because of all the sludge that exists in the world, and because of the elite and their control, and because of the, pulling us in different directions, we've lost these connections with nature that we've had. And so when we experience some of these reconnections, we make them
Right.
supernatural. We
So
pretend.
basically, instead of us all being airbag crash into face, we are experiencing a little bit of Dances with Wolves, right?
Yeah.
Because of the technology overlay that we were born into,
That's not even the
basically.
technology overlay, it's the lie overlay.
Yeah, that's, you know what I mean. Like the modern day
Yeah.
versus like back when it was just pure survival and everything was,
Wait, you think there's more lies today than there used to be in the past? I think there's less.
No. I'm saying that there's more lie overlay that can make it harder for some people to see what's going on. There's not
unless you get to like Mark's level, and then you can see through all that bullshit. But no,
Far
there's a lot
easier
of lies.
far easier for most people, your average person, to see what's going on today than it's ever been. What are you boys talking about?
No.
That's true. It's possible, but most people
No,
are
I actually
too caught
disagree.
up in, I think
I
they put in
think
their wallet and money
I
and
think
shit.
I think it's harder for the average person to sit down and realize that they can listen to corn grow, and they can see on a hot summer day, on the optimum temperature, if they sat there with a lawn chair, they could watch their corn stalk grow. I think that sounds like crazy bullshit magic to people, when that is actually reality. But because there's so many other layers, because of the complication of our society and the lies that get put onto that we forget the simple. Like a good
Separation. The separation from nature is separation from
well,
your own food, even.
a
Just
great
everything is.
a great example
separation.
is, like, when I get, and it's why I mention it when I get into the beehives, is you can hear the slight change of the beehives, of when they start realizing certain things. You can hear by the frequency of their buzzing. And some people will never hear that unless you point it out. And some people that will just walk past a beehive, maybe they'll walk past the beehive hundreds of thousands of times, but they'll never hear that because they're not listening for it. They don't know to get that reconnection. And some people will have that reconnection. Maybe they'll have it the first time and they won't realize it, and to them it'll feel like a superpower or magic, when it's neither superpower nor magic. It's just reconnecting with something that we used to have, but because there's so much distraction keeping us away from being able to see the reality.
Did you ever notice that about Ray Charles's music?
Oh, I mean, there's a handful of spectacular songs that were just perfectly written. That just everything about the song feels right.
Yeah, like God was writing it or something. That's what I think Ray Charles was able to channel in an amplified manner because of his blindness. I mean, there's been a few others too, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I never really realized as much more recently. But
music is woo. Like, music is one of the most woo things ever. Like, why does music do what it does to people and objects?
Well, it's more general than that. Art is woo.
Okay, art is woo. Yep, okay, art is woo.
Music is just a category of art.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we're not talking about modern.
Somehow we categorize music from other things. Right.
Yeah,
why isn't a sculpture music?
Yeah, I mean, and every once in a while, even in the last 20 or 30 years, you get diamonds out of dog shit.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the people that duct tape, bananas to walls, but, real art.
Oh, yeah. Or
are you saying it wasn't art when Banksy threw a bucket of paint over a like an ancient, like sculpted, like Roman.
I think it was art.
It wasn't.
It's currently
Who did it?
in the museum being displayed
Who-
as art by Banksy.
Who did
Yeah,
it?
it's Banksy.
No, never.
Maxie.
Oh, that goofball.
No,
I don't
no,
know.
no. I will give you the one piece of art that I have to say that Banksy did that I actually do consider art is when that one picture that he sold with the girl holding the balloon, and right after it sold, it started shredding and it went halfway through and shredded halfway through. The sound of that art being shredded was the art. That was the art right there.
Mhm.
So that time, I think he really did figure out the art in that scenario.
The true artiste, Banksy.
Yes, yes.
It's just using a medium. The trick is to try to find a new way to use the medium each time. Really, each painting should be doing something slightly different. With just because you're using a pen, you'd hold the pen differently or push harder or different. You did something different so that you're not.
The problem is we have modern artists got really lazy. Thanks, Yam. Thanks, Golf, for the ice cream and the treats and everything else. That was the problem. Modern art got lazy.
It's a combination of the effort and skill. Like
Yes.
Someone looks at it and they think, "Oh, that's cool. I wonder how that's amazing. How did somebody do that?" And it's because somebody that knew how to do something that was difficult repeatedly did that a lot and put a lot of effort into doing something that was very, very difficult. And then someone else just looked at it quickly and saw all that all in one go.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's something more mystical going on as well. Like somehow, whilst you're doing that process, somehow, this thing that we call the spirit maybe gets transferred a little bit into the art, the medium, whatever it is we're doing, whether, we're using pastel colors or dithering or ASCII art or whatever. Somehow, we just make some decisions that we don't quite understand. Some mechanisms allowed to interact with reality that's not normally allowed to interact with reality, call it our subconscious or our spirit or different layers. And then and when other people look at that, they can see that and pick up on it in those different ways, in that way that they don't really understand. And I think that's maybe what we call art. It's helping us to bridge the gap in our mind of an idea.
I don't know what the hell that flash was outside. Must be you lightning.
It was art.
Yeah, but I was in your mind, bro. That was the enlightenment I was giving you.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yep, that was Mark's enlightenment. Yep.
Wait, give me a second. I
Probably
gotta
one
be
of your
sure on some
neighbors.
fucking toast real quick. Oh, we're good. Oh.
He's even toasting me.
No, but one of the things, going back to the whole, cycling back to the environmentalism and Agenda 21 and that kind of stuff. One of the things that one of my biggest things that annoys me with how everything is a soundbite and everything is super simple is when you really think about some of the talking points of Agenda 21. Like, if you actually care about making the world a little bit better, you would, on the baseline of some of the talking points, you would think that they sound reasonable, that they would sound good, that that's what you want, Like, me and Mark want Africa to become nuclear. We want Africa to be able to become a powerhouse of technology. But that's, when we talk about raising third world countries out of poverty, like, unfortunately, somehow that turns into taking our money and giving our money to them and not teaching them the skills or giving them the technology to achieve great things. And that's one of the things that I find really interesting, because that's something that I notice very often, that the leftists and a lot of the conservatives both agree with, is they don't want to give, they don't honestly want to raise Africa out of poverty by giving them spectacular, awesome technology. I love the fact that technology is cheap, affordable, and easy for everyone to get, because the smarter and more access to good information that people have, like, they're going to make good choices. If people know if people know the proper food to consume and to eat, they're going to eat the better quality food. Yeah, of course everybody's going to eat the food that tastes good and tastes yummy, but they're also going to, spend time and understand how diet works. So, like, let me see. Let me go through. Let me find the Agenda 21, all of the Agenda 21 things. So,
It's hilarious. Like, I started reading about this 14 years ago. We're going to come up with this thing. We're going to call it Agenda 2021. And like Alex Jones started, he was starting to kick off about the FEMA camps and that, and like the coffins and all that kind of thing. And he's like, yeah, Alex, Agenda 21, and now they're actually just literally just doing what they said they do, using COVID to do it. It's like they're just not going to get away with it. It's like, no, guys. It's like a guy comes into your shop, like says, "I'm gonna just steal those sausages off the shelf now," and it's like, "All right, dude." And then he starts walking over towards the sausages and like puts his hand out and grabs them, and it's like, "Dude, you just told me you were gonna take those sausages." He's like, yeah, I know. I'm just taking the sausages now.
Is this
And it's like, bro, don't take the sausages. All we've got to do, right, is just reach over to the Bilderbergers and say, boys, you can't have those sausages, right? You can have the peas, right? You can have some peas. Those ones are on the floor. You can have those, right? And you can fucking, in the future, you can fucking embezzle the peas off us. You can embezzle the peas off us and maybe a couple of the carrots or whatever, but you're never fucking touching our sausages ever again. And they're not going to be able to. We've just got to just point that out, and we can because we've got the web now. So. It's a joke. They've just called it. That someone in the New World Order was like, yeah, no, we'll just do it in plain sight. We'll just tell them what we're going to do. We'll just, we'll get David Icke and Alex Jones to talk about it, and then all the crazy people will then be discredited it, and then when we do it, no one will believe that it's really happening. But like, no, guys, those are our sausages. Yeah, they've done it too much in plain sight, bro. They can't just literally do that.
But
there's plain sight, and then there's just there's plain sight, and there's Alex Jones telling everybody for 20 years that they were going to do it in 2020 with like some global takeover, and then in 2020 they just do some global takeover, bro. Like that's just they're not going to get away with it, man.
Okay, so let's talk about let's go through and talk about the 17 goals, and talk about how, like, most of the 17 goals we're probably not going to disagree with. So goal number 1 is no poverty. Like, that sounds like a great goal to me. Like, but you know what no poverty means to me?
Everyone's got to have a fucking job.
No,
nah.
No. It just means that we need the free.
Don't be silly.
We need the free energy. We need the free energy that the elites already have.
No, we've already got no poverty. Like,
yeah.
we've had no poverty in the world for about 50 years in terms of like abundance. It's just that we're just not. We could easily feed everybody on the planet.
Well, no, I mean,
no homeless people are actually in poverty. Like, if you were to measure that by what poverty was 50 years ago, give me what your metric of poverty is.
Isn't there also mental poverty, or physical?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but no poverty really just means that if someone needs access to something, they have access to something. The only reason in today's world that someone doesn't have access to something is because it's a it's not being distributed properly. That's it. That is the only reason someone doesn't have access to something, is because it's not being distributed properly. And you know what can solve something being distributed properly? Capitalism. Look at what Elon, like, regardless of what people think about Elon Musk or anything else, if Starlink really does work and does make the internet available through, the sky, then everyone will have access to the internet.
Leave it there. It's not free candy.
So,
Taking you seriously, I'm certainly coming
and
to
then
it.
if they have access to the internet, then they have access to education. And if they have access to education, then we can help educate and solve some of those problems. So, number 2 is zero hunger. And the goal is to end hunger through achieving food security and improve nutrients and promote sustainable agriculture. Nothing sounds bad about that. But again, why do we have hunger today? We have hunger today because we have a bad distribution problem. That's it.
Yeah,
Like,
people keep saying it's going to get worse on purpose, like they're going to take away some of
Oh,
the distributions to
okay,
make stuff
but
get messed up, like mess with us to say, oh, blame it all on COVID or some other crap
no,
they're trying to plan.
there's a whole different, that's a completely different statement of saying that bad people are going to do bad things is completely different than saying that we don't live in endless abundance, because we live in the most amazing endless abundance. And bad people will, of course, always do bad things to stop abundance from happening.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, it's just really weird.
So the next is good health and well-being. I want good health and well-being. I actually think that all the silliness that's going on right now is promoting not good health and not good well-being. So, quality education. Does anybody here think that we shouldn't be educating people to the highest standard possible of what their educational situation is? The problem is when we talk about education, the problem is like, what kind of education are we talking about? Like, are we talking, like this modern day education of trying to trick people into, believing something that isn't true?
You see gum on the street, leave it there. It's not free
5 is
candy.
gender equality. I, every developed country, every first and second world country, okay, not every, majority of first and second world countries have gender equality, and we've had gender equality for a very, very long time. So that's something that that's a problem with third world countries, and that's also a cultural problem, and I'm not sure if that's something that we can genuinely fix. Clean water and sanitation. Like, that's super solvable. Okay, let's continue on. Affordable and clean energy. So this is something, this is one of the few that I actually do have a problem with. I don't want affordable energy. I want free energy. We have a sun. We have knowledge to be able to not have to meter everything. I don't want Rockefellers to be correct. We don't need to meter everything.
I forgot who it was who said if we just made a giant solar field in like Arizona or something, we could power most of the U.S.
Yeah, but
I don't think that's true.
But that's the thing, Golf, is we don't even need to do, if we can put a technology in place where we take control over our energy production, just the same way that you take control over your transportation, and then in areas where we can't have control over our own energy production, then we have something like a public public energy system, kind of like a bus system or stuff like that. But in general, we can create our own energy. You know how much energy you're going to use in your house. And after living in places for so long, if you are educated properly on the creation of energy, or the reusing or absorbing or of energy, then you're going to figure out the best system for your local environment and your lifestyle. I think we all need micro power plants. We all need to be our own power plants.
Idealism.
And then clean energy. I don't know what this clean energy word. That's a weasel word to me, because I don't know what clean energy means. I don't know what clean means. What they're referring to as clean. Because to me, nuclear is the cleanest energy you can get.
It's not allowed to interact with the carbon cycle in any way.
Yeah.
Even though we're carbon-based life forms, and all life is carbon-based.
Yeah, so energy can't interact with us or plants or anything else. Yeah. So 7 totally needs to be redone. 8 is decent work and economic growth. At least with this one, I love the fact that they're being honest when they use the word decent work, which just means that they're still okay with a little bit of slave labor. Because and also, why do we actually need economic growth?
Capitalism doesn't work without it.
No, capitalism does work without it. We don't need to grow. We just need to sustain.
Not according to Keynes. Who's it?
Keynes is wrong.
Not according to Massa.
Keynes was bad.
Yeah.
There was another guy too.
Hyatt was right. Keynes was a New World Order shill, my friend.
Yeah, Hyatt. If you're not familiar with how Hyatt talks about the economy, I don't agree with everything that he has to say, but his view on the economy is, it's looking like it makes a lot more sense.
So what's his name?
Keynes was the front man, Hayek, as in high explosive.
Yeah, Hayyak, I believe.
That's what he says in his when he's doing the rap battle between Keynes and Hayek. You need to check that out. The rap battle between Keynes and Hayek.
Frederick Hayek
versus it's on YouTube. The rap battle. That's all you need to see. It explains it in that rap battle.
I don't even remember this fucker.
Well, that's the point, is that most of us have never even heard of him, and he's actually one of the better economists.
Did he invent Austrian economics?
Yeah, what it was, bro, as I've mentioned previously, in 1913, a cartel of bankers took over the control of the creation of money in America in a place called Jekyll Island, using something called the Fractional Reserve Banking Act. And when that happened, to make it seem like there was some other bullshit going on that was controlling something, this guy called Keynes created this thing called Keynesian economics. And then that sort of allowed governments to claim that they were sort of manipulating the economy, and it was like a good idea for governments to manipulate the economy, and there was such a thing as it that they could control in that way, and that there was this thing that was like boom and bust, and that the governments should sort of control that by interacting with the economy, and that Keynes sort of understood that, and that he was this wizard. And the truth of it was, there was just this cartel of bankers that decided when to allow new money to be created. That's it.
So every economics professor since then didn't know they were a New World Order shill also, and that we were all being brought up in this religion. Because I took the class, not a lot.
More or less, yeah. Yeah, it's that simple, bro, yeah.
Was wrong or screwed up years later. I was like, yeah.
Anybody that's talking about economics that isn't talking about fractional reserve banking and what happened on 1913 is an idiot.
Yeah, they're not a good economist.
At this point.
They might as well have got their degree from the same place that AOC got her economics degree.
It's that simple, bro. Keynes is just a
Well, the
layer of
problem is those
bullshit
people
that
are the
hides
majority.
that.
So isn't it just like you, me, and Doc, and a few others that are kind of realizing this in like an active way?
No, well, I
Actually,
mean, Hayek realised this a very long time ago. He was just a
did.
reasonable person pointing out, well, this is actually how an economy should work. What are you talking about? There's no such thing as it.
Ah.
It doesn't work like that. What's
Right.
boom
So
and
his
bust? What are you
information just
talking
got
about?
suppressed, basically.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
his information just kind of got repressed.
because the
Jeez.
people that are suppressing it have the capability to control the creation of money, and so that makes them quite powerful.
Hmm. So they just left him out of all the books, basically,
He's in some of them.
all the teachings.
Well, I mean, it's
Guggenheim.
it's the same thing that, and this is not leading to a debate, but this is just to lead to the fact that there's people, there was other evolutionists besides Darwin, and most people have never heard of any of those other people's names. It's just, as over time, certain people just get left out because they either don't view their information as relevant enough, or they just didn't want to share it. Like they purposely want to suppress it. So, history in school is like a Reader's Digest of things. It's just it's just lightly covering topics, and we should be, as smart individuals, we should be dedicating more of our time to read the scholars out there. And one of the things it's why I really love quoting Mark Twain, is if you really spend time and you read Mark Twain's work, you'll realize like how much of a troll Mark Twain really was. Now, I don't know if he was a good guy or a bad guy. He might not. I mean, Mark Twain is one of the founding members of the Bohemian Grove. But then again, Mark Twain also talks about how you should never trust a politician, and how politicians are the worst people you should ever elect to run to make decisions for your life. So, Samuel Clemens was an interesting individual. But we get caught up in the the buzzwords, and it's one of the things I mention this when I see things. I hate the fact that I can quote commercials. I can start hearing a commercial and I can sing the rest of the jingle, but then when it comes to like super relevant historical or educational or mathematical facts, I actually have to spend some time thinking about that. And that's just showing how much they want you to not think about some things.
I was just trying to think if Mark Twain was making a joke about chickens, what would it be? A dyslexic joke. Huckleberry hen. Just kidding.
Oh man.
Oh my god. That joke was so 1800.
He's banned now, isn't he? Right, Huckleberry Finn.
Who?
Yep.
Huckleberry Finn. He said the N-word.
Huck Finn was the best book ever. Listen here, boys. Oh, Huckleberry.
That was a good
Not
remark.
golf. No.
Follow on. What did golf say?
Oh, Huckleberry.
He was getting his Southern pride was starting to win.
I had to contain myself for a minute. Started hearing yodeling. You gotta calm down.
You start hearing
where are you
yodeling?
from, son?
What's the story of Huckleberry Finn? Like, give me what's the main, what does he do? What's his main
Can we
thing?
just look up the book and read it to you?
That might take a while, but yeah, I'm up for that.
Huck Finn decides he wants to be a rebel. He wants to rebel against society. He doesn't want to have to paint that picket fence that he's told that he's supposed to paint that picket fence, so he decides to run away. And while he's running away, he meets a slave who is also running away. And Huck Finn's like, "Oh, look, we have a lot in common." And the slave's like, "Boy, we don't have as much in common as you think." Like, you're running away because you don't want to do work. I'm running away because I'm forced to do something. And so it was kind of a look into society at the time. Is that in some ways, it was the beginning of white privilege. But in other ways, it was kind of also showing, you're kind of calling, the kettle, like, it was also kind of showing the downfall to, the leftists talking about how, they're fighting against the man because they hate the man and they don't want the man to keep them down, when you had an individual, like, actually not, that couldn't make any life choices for themselves because of the rules of the society that he was currently living in. And so, in a
So
nutshell,
what happens? What happens to him?
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember what happens at the end. I think he ends up just going back and living at his house and has that lessons. I don't remember what happens to the slave.
I remember reading it, but it's been like forever ago.
So,
and, like,
what was the
but I
book
remember
where
Nobody remembers
it's in
what happens to the
Roaring
black guy.
50s.
Yeah,
He
no one
takes him
remembers.
to the pond and shoots.
Well,
him.
everybody
What
talking
was
at the same
it?
time.
We just assume he was captured and he went back to the
Fuck it.
plantation. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't even fucking remember now. Damn.
Lisa, do you remember what happened to the
Actually,
black guy in Huck Finn?
actually, he ended up working in Huckleberry Finn's house as a slave.
Oh. But
No, surely not. That's something. There must be a
he could have,
happy
man. He
ending to
could
the
have got
black guy.
promoted from
Surely
being a
somebody
field
knows
person
the
to a
end of
house
Huckleberry
person.
Finn. Surely, come on. There's a lot of us here. Nobody knows what happens to the
I
black
heard he
guy in
died in a
Huckleberry Finn.
dumpster fire.
Come on, guys.
Do you guys remember the book about some dude named Lenny? They end up having to kill him because he was crazy or something. It was during the
No.
Roaring 50s.
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't know. It's probably the pot.
You
To
better
be
find
honest.
out, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
It might be South Park. He's thinking of
Yeah, it might be. Who knows?
Kenny. He always gets killed.
Yeah.
Or maybe Kenny's named after Lenny and Golfy's really onto something. Who knows?
Okay, so at the end of Huck Finn, Jim, who is the black guy, his freedom is secured, and he can go and he can live in the north, and everything's good to
Okay.
go. And Huck Finn is trying to decide. His father is dead now, and his father was the one that was repressing him and keeping him down. And his father's gone, so he no longer has that same fear, so he could go back to.
Okay.
But he chooses. But he's thinking he wants to escape He wants to escape modern society and go live in the Indian territories. So.
Oh.
So as long as Jim stays away from the Southerners, he's all right.
Yep, as long as Jim stays away from the Southerners, Jim will be all right. So.
I feel hurt to that comment, but Mice and Men was the book I was talking about.
Oh, of Mice and Men.
Yep.
That's been a long time since I've read that one, so I actually can't. I don't remember much of Mice and Men.
I never read it. My brother did, but.
It was a good book.
Same story. Is that what you're saying?
Huh? Yeah, it's similar.
But it wasn't written by Mark Twain, so it wasn't funny.
No. But it did show the oppression of the freed black people in the 50s, though.
I mean, To Catch a Mockingbird also. To Catch a Mockingbird also kind of. I'm thinking about this right now. I'm thinking about, we just named 3 books. We just named Huck Finn, we just named Mice and Men, and we just named To Kill a Mockingbird. And we are trying to tell, and we're trying to be told in this modern time era that that Western society never thinks anything about the mistakes we made in the past. And we just quoted 3 books that most of us probably were required to read that showed us how our ancestors made bad mistakes.
What were you required to read, Golf?
I was required to read all those books.
You were, okay.
We
Yeah,
were
they
required
just
to read
recently
Dune.
banned it where you can't read Huckleberry Finn in schools.
Lisa
But
also
they-
Lisa,
That was recent.
What Shakespeare did you do?
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Romeo and Juliet.
Macbeth.
Oh my god, you read all this shit.
Yeah, Macbeth's another one.
Macbeth, yes. Okay, Macbeth, we were there.
Yeah, most people have read Macbeth. Was required to read Macbeth. Most people haven't read Midnight.
I hated Macbeth. I didn't like Midsummer Night's Dream at the time, but it was
Midsummer
really
Night's
good.
Dream.
Yeah.
We actually went and watched Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah, we saw it.
in the,
We saw it in the theater
opera
too.
theater thing on the
Mhm.
square.
Like-
It was neat.
Yeah, that was cool. Their theater in
I-
the round.
I agree with Tolstoy.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
What?
do Tolstoy. I've got a bunch of his
Let
books.
me
but
try and find it.
It's really weird. Oh, what the hell? What just happened? Okay.
I know what you're talking about with Tolstoy. I don't actually remember.
But yeah, all of them are great
War and
books.
Peace.
I highly recommend if you've never read any of them to read them.
I'm saving them from when I'm really old. Some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read a lot of the ones you guys talked about.
Though, you know, I will say, in modern era, if you've not read them, don't watch the movies, but if you've not read them, you really should read the Harry Potter series.
Yes, thank you, Jesus.
There is a lot of good morals, and there's a lot of good stories. And Harry Potter is very anti-establishment. A lot more than people think it is.
Well, I mean, wasn't it based off the stories of Grimm? To an extent?
I mean, she took a lot of, when she wrote the Harry Potter novels, she took a lot of stories throughout a lot of literary works.
Mhm.
I mean, there's not that many. The thing is there's really only there's only a handful of ways you can tell the hero's tale,
Yeah.
and
I think it was told very well in Harry Potter.
but the Harry Potter
The
books.
Cursed Child is another. It's really good if you haven't read it.
Tolstoy said, every man in our society in our time, from the first period of his conscious life, has been indoctrinated with the idea that Shakespeare is a genius, a poet, a dramaticist, and that all his writings are the height of perfection. In truth, Tolstoy proclaims, the venerable bard is an insignificant, artistic writer. The sooner people free themselves from the false glorification of Shakespeare, the better it will be. And he's right. Everybody that reads Shakespeare thinks, why is this all a load of bollocks? Why is it written all like stupid like? And you kind of think that, oh yeah, that's kind of how they spoke in the past, and they sort of did really but they didn't really actually speak quite that stupid, because Shakespeare was just doing stupid things for no reason, and we give it more credit than it is, and like everybody just sort of glosses over that, and it's just shit writing. A lot of it
And there was
doesn't
a lot
really
of
make
alcohol
much
in that
sense.
time period.
We literally had to have our teachers help us. Like, I mean, there was it was, you had to literally decode it. It was really interesting.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Not all. Some of it was, I mean, at that age especially, it was just fucking torture.
It's a New World Order manuscript. If there's any truth that there's an ongoing conspiracy that's been going for many hundreds and hundreds of years,
All
then
of Shakespeare's books?
whoever wrote Shakespeare was definitely in on that. Yeah.
Yes.
The Francis Bacon thing has been well documented. You know, a lot of people think that Francis Bacon wrote Shakespeare, and that there's an awful lot of brainwashing in there, that he's trying to seed ideas into the minds of how to create the world as the Enlightenment happened, and he did. It was rammed down our necks for 400 years by whoever it is that controls the mainstream media, and still is today. Come on, bro, it's shit. Why are they forcing it down our necks?
Well, I mean, and if you've read Midsummer Night's Dream, You can see that they're trying to force it down. I mean, even with the character of Puck and how they play the fairies and how they control and manipulate the humans and such like that, they're also telling you their agenda.
Really? I must have read way too much else besides not Shakespeare, like after Shakespeare. All the stuff I just talked about, like a whole couple rooms full of this other stuff that like was able to make me completely forget all the garbage I read with Shakespeare. So I guess, yeah, like you said, if it's the only thing rammed down your throat and you don't read anything else the rest of your life after that, you probably will be kind of screwed.
No, the thing is that it isn't it isn't about you remembering word for word what happened in there. It's the idea is to set up the foundation. You know, to set up the foundation that star-crossed lovers is common. That's the way things are supposed to be.
I actually like that.
But it's not true.
No,
Like,
it's not for the most part.
That's a longing.
Now, if it's you and your sister, you need to do that. That don't even need to be on the same playing board.
Thanks for clearing that up there, Golf.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
What about your aunt? On your, sister's side.
What are these like? Are these insisting jokes?
The correct person to breed with is like your third cousin, third or fourth cousins. Your second cousins, no. First cousins, no.
Well, if your second cousin is like extremely attractive.
No. That's actually the best. It's actually the best. Yeah.
So I couldn't do it with my fourth cousin. It had to be my third, right?
You could do it with your fourth. It just wouldn't be as good.
Oh, okay.
The second is too much. That's not enough diversity. But the third, they reckon, is just you can just about get away with it there, and just like if you're trying to create a super race, is what I'm saying. Selectively based on your DNA or whatever.
You might not, you may not get the spicy sprinkling on to make you like half brain dead.
No, you won't get that. That's for sure.
Oh, okay.
No, all of the mutations that people are worried about by the time you reach your third cousin's not going to happen. Because you're not
often enough.
You're not
often enough.
Yeah, not often enough.
You can get away with breeding them like that.
Of incest available.
There's always a sweet spot.
Paperback and soon to be.
Sisters definitely no.
Yeah.
Oh
First cousins definitely no. Second cousins, third cousins, yes.
I think we need a slideshow, Mark, detailing why. What's the difference between your third cousin?
Doc, are you enjoying my commentary?
It's to do with like
it would
chaos.
make me feel better if I seen it wrote out and fully documented on why.
They actually if you probably go through the royalty and you probably go through genetics, they probably have that already well documented out. I agree with Yam though. I do think we do need we do need to have Mark write that new book, his new paperback. It'll become an American bestseller for sure. Yeah, that part's probably pushing it a little bit, Yam.
Yeah, exactly what you want to do. You want to push it. I had an extremely attractive second cousin. Oh well. At least I didn't do anything about it. I didn't do anything about it. Golf's like
you can look, but you can't touch. That's the thing.
Ew, no. There was no ooh about her. I didn't do anything, but man, whew.
Yeah, what happens is the elite, whenever they tried to do it, they always got greedy and ended up, doing it with like first cousins and second cousins.
Yeah.
what you want is like a tribal structure, really, where you've got like, you know, like a large group of people that are just, and then it doesn't matter. You get a bit of that happening every now and again, but it doesn't matter.
Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Right, Yam? Yes. Funny world we live in.
Your body has a lot of different ways that it can speak to you and tell you things. One of them is that it can just make you be able to just see shit.
Mm-hmm. Or, you know, another one, you know, this is something I thought's really interesting. I don't know if you've ever seen someone that's been addicted to fast food and all the drugs that are in fast food to get us addicted to. Yep. Like one of the things I didn't realize is, did you know that McDonald's fries, after they cut the McDonald's fries out of the potatoes, they spray them with high fructose corn syrup before they deep fry them? So the high fructose corn syrup sinks into the fries when they deep fry them. Anyways, going back to what we were talking about, the whole body
I'm
and
not
the
an
way.
expert, but that sounds very unhealthy.
Sounds tasty though. That's why they're not. That's why they're not like normal. Oh,
Yeah.
that's behind it. I'm just getting
But-
more. I'm gonna have to start getting more McDonald's now. I didn't know they did that.
Can't say that wants me to make me eat them less. I can't talk.
Why doesn't everyone else do that?
I don't know.
Doc was
But
probably trying to make some next level point.
no,
by
I
using
was
fries as a springboard.
no. I was just making a point. But what if you eat those too often and too much? That's why some people will have reactions when they start to eat real food again. When they eat things like Brussels sprouts, or when they eat things like beans or something like that, their body actually
What kind of reaction?
It has a negative reaction, like it makes them physically sick.
Oh, like a rash or like throwing up or
Yeah, like throwing up or
feeling
nauseous,
like a headache
or a headache or stuff like that. And it's not because you know that they can't eat that stuff. It's just their body is so used to this particular type of stuff. No, something I didn't know this, but the extreme marathon runners, the runners that run multiple miles in a day, you know, and the ones that, you know, do these like Ironman things, they've done a lot of research, and they found out that eating fast food every 30 minutes on one of those major marathon runs actually gives them the proper amount of energy that they need to sustain a high quality run. Because of the regular movement, and they know how many calories they need to eat and how quick those calories absorb because of the high fructose corn syrup and the way that they're cooked and fried. The body absorbs it a lot faster, and it goes through the system quicker. So
That sounds like a way to have a fucking heart attack too.
no, you actually wouldn't. You wouldn't have a heart attack because the marathon runners, you're never pausing, you're never stopping, and so there's never time for the cholesterol to cling to your arteries, because everything's always in constant motion. So you don't have to worry about the heart attack because you're actually using all of the energy that's in the McDonald's. You know, like, you're probably not, you know, these people aren't downing, you know, like 5 cheeseburgers while they're running, but they're maybe going to have a cheeseburger and then 30 minutes have another cheeseburger and then 30 minutes have another Big Mac. And, you know, of course, you know, knowing the proper foods, because you don't want to get the ones like, you know, like Yam says, you don't want to get the ones that go through your system fast enough that cause you diarrhea, but you want to be able to use all of the...
Oh god.
You want to be able to use all the nutrition that's there in your system, so that...
Hello, yellow baby. Mellow brown.
They eat a lot of like fatty foods, like you know, like a pork pie would be good, or you know, like a pasty or something that's just, you know, just normal, like a corned beef sandwich. Just, you know, just, you don't want something that's light. You want something that's got lots of a little bit of everything in it. It's just normal food, but they can, you know, like lard would be fine. You know, just eat some lard.
Lard with some icing on it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh Lord.
Just you
Talking
want
about getting the shits right there. Be like
want
a faucet.
calories into your body that can stay in your body for a bit.
Yep. Because
But
you're
they
gonna be
don't really want the fast calories even because
Yep.
they want to they're trying to sustain calories.
Well, you want a nice mix of the fast calories and the thing, because you want the fast calories to burn quickly
Yeah.
and fast, but you also want to have those long calories to be able to get you through. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't you're not going to swim hundreds of miles drinking sugar.
No. Mike's Hard Lemonade. I've not had the pomegranate blueberry, but yes, I agree.
I think it just came out because I just got it a couple days ago. It is good shit. I don't like the regular stuff. It's just too usually like barf sweet. This stuff is delicious.
Okay, I'll have to try it.
Or not. But yeah,
Or
I
you
would
just
try
get
it. I
you
think
some
it's probably
Pink
only going to be
Whitney.
available for a very short time. I don't usually go to the liquor store at all. Not my thing, but this would be it. And half the time I go there, it's like, you think something's going to be good, and you get home, you're like, it's not so great. Definitely, I'm sure it's not good for you, but just have a salad, right?
Well, no, see, a salad's not depending on your lifestyle and your diet and how much energy, a salad might not actually be the best. There are particular times that, a cheeseburger or a pizza might actually be the best thing for you to eat.
Oh yeah. Well, we're not all like you, Doc, but most of us are pretty freaking unhealthy, I would think, by comparison with someone that eats probably this. I mean, you eat pretty healthy, right?
Yeah.
There you go. So, I mean, I want to show
Eat as
chocolate and
healthy as
spaghetti
I
in my mouth
should.
all the time. Not chocolate spaghetti, but I don't. But I should do enough.
Oh, so I did want to enter. I've been doing some research on these grocery stores starting to stockpile more and more food and such like that, and trying to understand the logic behind this and what this is ultimately going to mean for stuff in the future. And I I'm gonna my advice right now is, if any of you out there in internet land has the ability to, some of your favorite things. I'm not saying that you need to do this for survivalists, but I'm just saying some of your favorite things that you like to have easy access to. I would suggest now is the time, starting tomorrow, start making sure that you have more than you normally have of your favorite things.
Why?
I think the way it's looking is that something's happening with the food chain, and they're not effectively getting. They're gonna call it a food crisis. They're gonna call it a
Right.
food shortage. But
The
really,
the supply chain, basically.
it's just right now we're not effectively moving products in the directions that we should be able to move them, and so some things are going to be harder to get.
You said grocery stores.
They're starting to
are stockpiling. Like, when did
they're
this come out?
they're starting to
I didn't hear about
stockpile. I know some friends that manage some grocery stores, and they've been told to double some orders and to start adding more and more stuff to the things that they've been buying. Part of it is so that they can offset costs, but part of it is they think that there's going to be another rush.
Another rubber band effect or something.
Well, no, the problem is that it has nothing to do with the back orders. Is that if this came about because they were trying to order something, and at some particular point, like, they're trying to double order things, and they're saying, now you can't even double order things. Like, you can
I'd imagine they're doing this after the shutdowns. I don't know if it happened where you was. Where I was, Walmart was completely empty.
Yeah, the
like
same.
For a week, probably.
Very similar thing was happening here. Is that Walmart was getting But I'm just seeing like there's just some establishments like Kroger's and Kroger's and Walmart's here is where I'm getting the information from, but also just talking with my buddy who lives in Florida who knows some people that own some restaurants and some even some of the smaller little places, they're being told that not only are prices going to start really going up, but some things are going to be hard to get. The
Just like the toilet paper scare, though. Now everybody's gonna create these things.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, yes, it's similar to the toilet paper scare, but the difference is the toilet paper scare was individuals doing it. This is commercial companies doing it, and when commercial companies start doing it, it's because they want to make more money. And so this is just a heads up. This is just like just a little thing that I'm noticing. I'm not saying going out, I don't think that there's going to be a run on bread. I don't think there's going to be a run on milk or eggs or things like that. But there could be a run on your favorite brownie mix. Or there could be something on, something that you
It
something
better
that,
not happen to the Twinkies, man. That's all I ask.
I mean,
It doesn't
Twinkies
happen
are
to what?
he doesn't want to happen to Twinkies, but Twinkies are the company already went under at one point.
They did, man. They did, and I bought all sorts of Twinkies.
Oh my God!
Bought them
You
up.
remind me of Chris Griffin.
I mean, the
Oh
good thing about
man, listen, I love the Twinkies. Best thing
I,
ever.
I mean, the good
I
thing
like the
about
chocolate
Twinkies
cupcake, but not that much. Yeah.
is the Twinkie shelf life is, for the rest of your life. So if you bought a lifetime supply of
Oh,
Twinkies, it'll last forever. It's not like they go
oh,
bad.
I used to like Twinkies as a kid, but as an adult, not so much.
I used to
That's
like
my
Twinkies
guilty
until I
snack
realized
when I
they
get off
couldn't
work.
mold. Like,
Hey, that's all right with me, dog. I like my little frosted, filled, impervious dough dog. Right?
The Twinkies are one of those things, right? That when you put them out, you put it out in the garden, right? The flies don't want it.
yeah.
In it.
Yeah, when the seagulls and pigeons like look at it and poke at it a few times and are just like, nah, nah.
Nah. Everybody
Might
just
have a
leaves it.
problem.
Yeah,
Anything could eat it. They're just like, yeah, I don't think I will.
yeah.
I'm going to eat something else. Like, why is that? Like, it's the trans fats. It is
Yeah, the
actually
trans fats,
that's
yeah.
the reason. Like, the insects will not eat trans fats. They can detect trans fats, and they don't eat them. And Twinkies have got a lot of trans fats in.
Mhm. I mean, and we know that the trans fats want the same rights as regular fats, but just even the insects say no.
Twinkies do taste good though.
Mm-hmm. Listen, that dude off of Zombieland had it right, wanting to be angry over a Twinkie.
I don't know. I after stop eating Twinkies for
Is
so
it Woody
long
Harrelson?
and stop eating things like, Little Debbie cakes, I occasionally will eat a Little Debbie cake or something like that, and they're just kind of gross.
I don't like
They're
little
kind of
Debbie
gross
cakes. They're
once
fucking
in a while.
nasty.
I mean, I will say the one thing out of all of those Little Debbie, all of those boxed desserts that are boxed are come in a cardboard box with your favorite snack wrapped in plastic. Um, I will say the fudge rounds are still probably my favorite though.
The only one I like out of all of them is the Twinkie.
Oh, the only one you like out of all is the Twinkie. Okay.
Yeah. I like Snowballs pretty good.
Yeah, those are good.
I haven't seen them in forever.
They're
in
really bad.
stores.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of snowballs. Lisa liked moon pies.
Oh yeah, moon
Oh, I
pies
love.
are-
My brother hates them, but those banana moon pies and chocolate
You
moon
like-
pies are delicious.
Oh yeah, the
You like the
banana
banana moon
moon pies
pie?
are where it's at.
Yeah.
They make a vanilla one too, but I don't think I like that one. I don't know if I've even tried it, but banana, the chocolates are delicious. They're really bad for you. I mean, it's like really bad stuff, but phew, I definitely had a few.
I had enough little things, proofs of purchase that you can mail in and get a t-shirt. I had a Blue Pie t-shirt one time.
Yeah, Lisa was just saying she ate enough moon pies when she was younger and such. She had the little thing where you could mail in the T-shirt, where you could mail in the
Oh,
little thing and you
Lord.
get the moon pie T-shirt.
Never heard of that.
That was before my
That's a lot of
time, I
Oompas.
think.
No, it wasn't that long ago, but it might have been back in the 80s or something.
Yeah, I
90s.
wasn't born in the
Oh.
80s.
Yeah. Golf's a
Oh,
golf wasn't even a
he
twinkle.
just has a deep voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a twinkle in a
Okay.
Twinkie.
I'm a
No,
man,
yeah,
though.
he
That's
was.
because of my voice.
Okay, remember, golf wasn't.
Ah,
Golf,
it's like my nephew.
you weren't
17,
even
but
born.
real deep voice.
Yeah, you
They
weren't
don't
even.
count me as a millennial where I was born in 2001.
Yeah. See, he wasn't even born during.
Oh,
he was.
shit!
Yeah, 9/11. He has no idea 9/11.
Ah!
Yeah, I know.
I was
So
born
he's not
that
as
year,
young as
but I had
Dorkside,
a
but he's pretty
Sega
close.
growing up, and an
Actually, I
old
guess
PS2. I
the
had an
Dorkside was
Xbox,
22 or 20. Oh wow.
But
Okay, you were born after video games were all like advanced and shit.
He
I
bought.
was
Yeah.
playing like 1997
Well, not
games and thought they were hot shit.
I played on a
And
Sega
I
when
was playing them in
little,
07.
most of my
And, you know,
life,
thinking,
like a PlayStation.
wow.
Golf was
Yeah.
born in the golden age of video games.
It
Yeah,
was
we were
great,
born.
boys.
Well,
You know what it's like playing
I had
Pac-Man
Pong.
on
I
a
had
PS2?
Nope,
It's
I've never
great.
played Pac-Man on a
No.
PS2. I played Pac-Man on a
Nope.
Pac-Man machine.
I played the original Pac-Man in an
no,
arcade
I never played it
in
on
the
a
70s.
Pac-Man machine. I want
I
to,
had the
though.
original Pong in the 70s
But like
on the
they
black and white
consider us,
TV.
I forget what they call us, but we're not millennials.
You're
The
Zoomers.
2001
You're a Zoomer.
Zoomers.
I'm a Zoomer.
Yeah, you're a Zoomer.
What's a Zoomer?
Zoomers.
Gen Z, a Zoomer. That's the generation that it would be in, just as like me, Mark, and Yam are Xers. We're Gen
Okay.
X.
So isn't that like the 80s and stuff? Is what you guys are?
70. If you grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
Yep.
So what all is in my generation?
think-
when
I
does
think
my
generation-
generation start?
I think Generation X starts in 1965, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, your generation's mostly known for eating Tide Pods. So.
Damn, I didn't think I was part of that generation. See,
No, you totally are part of that
didn't-
generation. Yes.
Oh
I
shit!
don't claim them, cuz.
I don't need to
the
claim 'em.
80s.
You claim the what? The 80s?
The 80s. There we go.
You didn't live in the 80s. You weren't.
It's okay.
You
though.
were
I don't
20
claim the
years
Tide
away
Pod
from the-
eaters.
You were 20 years away from the 80s. Yep. Nah,
Well,
no.
the early 90s, or whatever it's called. There we go.
The
'Cause,
early 90s.
I don't claim the Tide Pod eaters. Those are
Nah.
the 2005 people.
He doesn't like to admit that he's a naughty boy. That's all it is.
Listen, Mark, I'm old enough. I can fool your mom, okay?
Nah, let's see. As Zoomers.
Mark's mom would be like your great grandmother
Oh, yeah.
or your grandmother, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm off a little bit. Mark's mom is a senior lady. My mom is looking at the grave, I think.
Your mom would be his
My
great.
My grandmother's still alive though, 96. My grandmother's 96, so
Oh, yeah.
she's pretty badass. Still kicking. But not like she used to. Kind of a walker kicking.
It's a shuffle kick.
Sort of, I guess. Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while. It's kind of a mess.
She's still shuffle kicking.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the only ones
Oh,
I
yeah.
claim are maybe the 2002, but 2003 is the cutoff point. Anything past there, no relation.
So you identify with
So
what's the generation you identify with then? Millennial kind of?
No, generations are typically between 16 to 18 years. So he is absolutely a Zoomer. So
How am I a
Right.
Zoomer, dog?
because you're
he
just-
sounds like a goddamn boomer.
what
Damn.
so what you would
No,
actually
I didn't mean it that way. Really,
what
That's
you
the first time
actually
I've done
would be called in modern day terms is you are a geriatric Zoomer, is what you are. Because you're on the you're on the old end of the Zoomers.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So because the Zoomer generation ended about 2019, just before COVID. So,
Damn. I'm on the older end of the spectrum of the generation.
oh yeah, you very much are on the older end of the spectrum of the generation.
That's about a
Yes.
bit. Just so you know, my generation's probably going to end it all.
No, no. The millennials will still end it all with their avocado toast.
Yeah.
So what are the
Avocado toast is actually really
what are the
good
kids
with a little
called?
pepper
Oh,
on
hang on.
top.
What are the kids called that are like 12, 11, and 12 now?
They're
Do they have a
Zoomers.
name or anything?
They're still Zoomers.
They're still Zoomers.
They're still Zoomers.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Zoomers are just now going to college. Just now starting to attend college.
Yeah, he's not
Millennial-
wrong. I
wait,
literally
what I
just
have-
started doing
Wait, wait.
Millennials are having.
No, but I have a nephew and a niece that are like 10 and 11 though. So
They're
what are they?
Zoomers. Zoomers.
The Zoomers.
They're still Zoomers. When
Yeah.
you said the
Yeah.
Zoomers were just going to college, you're saying the beginning Zoomers are just going
Yeah.
to college now.
Yeah, the
Yes.
beginning Zoomers are just
Okay.
going to college. Yes.
18, 19, 20. Okay.
Yeah, and the average millennial starting to have a family.
All right. Or becoming MGTOW, or fourth wave feminist, or
You know?
or gender non-binary freaks.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, dog, okay? We don't claim them either.
Some of us are parallel non-gender. Wait, no. What are we sort of? Some of us are.
See, they got
Parallel
they
universe.
got mad at me.
Thanks
in
for the ice
Discord
cream and thanks
server
for the lemon.
because I told them I identified as an attack
Transformers
chopper,
identifying
and they
as
got
human.
upset. I told them I
You know,
identified as an Apache
so
attack chopper.
No, I just going back. I think Yam and Mark will both agree with me here. Is as Xers, this whole identifying things is just something I personally think is just funny because I don't know if we ever purposely identified as anything.
I identify as me.
Yeah, exactly. Identify as me.
as-
That's it.
Why would I want to group myself into another group
Yeah.
larger than that to categorize myself in some way? What are you talking about? Like, under what context? For me to categorize myself in another group other than myself, I'd need to know the context under which you wanted me to do that. That seems to be something that people have forgotten.
Doc doesn't read that. Did Doc just go to the bathroom, like unannounced? He doesn't do like a code yellow like Chooch.
No, I just walked away for a
He
minute.
just,
I had to get some
oh,
candy.
okay.
Oh, muted now.
I hope it's not like the forbidden chocolate.
No, it's just candy that looks like fruit. You know, it's candy that looks like it's good for you.
Oh yeah.
Scrolling error.
No, it is funny going back to the whole like group identity, like with maybe the exception of like sports, like that's where most people I knew was the only
Well,
type of group
I
identity that
identify
they
as-
had.
I identify as a Manchester United supporter. Now you've given me a category. I can
Yeah.
identify myself in a category, but without giving me a category, I'd never identify myself as anything other than me. That would be ridiculous, and to do so is a New World Order spell. That's part of the Gaia agenda. They're trying to shift our focus and make it think that it's normal for you to need to identify yourself as something other than you, because they don't want us to think that we are just us. So, like, the spell that they're casting now is like, which of these different groups do you want to identify? Do you want to be one of these? Do you want to be one of those? Do you want to be one of... And it doesn't matter which one you choose. Whichever one you choose, you've played their game. by doing something other than just saying, no, I'm me.
Yeah, you have to be.
I am not a number. I am a free man. That's all we need to remember. It's just that same bullshit spell again. They're just trying it in a more elaborate way than they've done for a while. People will, though. Most people will. Most normies are. Like the Doomer truthers that I meet believe that they've got far more control and they've brainwashed far more normies than they really have. They've just brainwashed Twitter and that's about it.
But anyways, let's roll all the way back around. I do want to tell you guys, I didn't get a chance to tell you guys earlier about. So I went and rescued some bees today. Later on in the evening, my neighbor had some very angry hot bees. So he told me the queen's name is Stormy Daniels. So,
So can't you just go in and replace Stormy with another queen? Just nip in, swap her out, get stung a few times, swap her in for
yes.
somebody a bit more calm, like
Yes.
Can't think of anybody calm in America. Sorry, I couldn't do it. Tried to think of like a calm person stereotype that I could put into just no, there isn't like what female. No, there isn't one. Don't know.
No, what I'm gonna do. The goal is So he gave me Stormy Daniels.
Daisy Duke, yeah, Daisy Duke from Dukes of Hazzard. She could do it. She was always quite chilled out, wasn't she? Yeah, there you go.
So he gave me Stormy Daniels. He gave me a little bit of Brood, and he gave me like a frame of bees. And so I'm going to let Stormy Daniels like live, and I move them someplace else. I'm gonna let them hang out for a couple of days, and then I'm gonna go through the hive and see what they're like and try to get them used to me and such like that. But the main reason he didn't like her is she's really good at producing more queens. She started producing more and more queen cells.
Right. She's an empire builder.
She's an empire builder. Yeah, she is an absolute empire builder. And so they were just gonna kill her and be on the way. And I'm kind of more interested in, is this something that nature knows better? Like,
we need to rename her to Hillary.
Oh Lord. Bees don't need to go
Stormy's the wrong name. Rename her to Hillary. Stormy's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense.
And so
Stormy was just doing her job, for goodness sake. She's a professional. Leave her out of this.
So what I'm kind of interested in is it something instinctual that the bees know, and if they keep building up these, because I guess she does a really good job of building up really good colonies, and then they leave. And then there's still plenty of bees there, and then she just does it again, and then a group leaves, and it's just like a conveyor belt of making bees. And so I'm kind of thinking maybe that's something that the environment needs, and if I can get more natural bees, like more wild swarms living in the woods around me, that doesn't sound like it's a bad thing. So instead of
maybe it's not the queen's fault though. Maybe it's like all the bees are like, no, we're not going. Like they should have gone ages ago, and like the queen's like and then by the time they leave, like some leave, but like there's still too many there. So she's like, well, I've just got to fucking do what I normally do to get them to leave then. So she has to produce a new queen to get them to leave, and then it's just it's like a guy at the door. Like everybody tries to leave, it's like, nah, don't go out there, guys. It's cold, rains, just stay in here. And it's like there's one dude on the door that's just bumming it down. It's not the queen, but there's just one bee, and you can sort that guy out. He's just bum steering everybody.
Yeah, guys, you don't want to go out there. Like, bad shit happens out there, guys.
It's rain.
Just stay here
cold.
And take the vaccines, damn it.
Yeah, just stay in. Just don't go out. And then
stimulus check.
Just get yourself a job as a nursing bee or whatever it is. Try and get yourself a nice nursing bee job. Just what is it, Doc? Downgrade yourself back down to one of the Yep.
Yep. Become a nurse bee or a cleaner bee. You're fine. You don't need to go out there. You don't need to leave the hive for any reason. We got plenty of honey.
And the queen's getting the blame. She's like, well, what? Then all I can do is make more queens. When I make more queens, then they have to leave the hive, and so she's just doing what she's supposed to do. Poor Stormy's getting the blame, and it's just like the hive's just we're just scared. She's a really good queen, and the bees are just pussies, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
But that's why I didn't want to kill her. I opted to take her, and so I'm gonna give it a shot, and we're gonna I'm kind of excited about this experiment too, because I wanted more queens born here on the farm, and this looks like this is the potential. He told me that one of the frames he gave me already has 5 queen cells on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, well, you've got something there that's very powerful. It's just whether or not you can harness it. Then it'd be more effort than.
Yeah. And so I kind of like the idea to see if I can harness the power, or if it can. But they're hot, man. I will tell you, I gave them a little bit of breather, because you don't want to open up too much when you take the bees from a brand new home. So I only gave them a little hole, so a few of the guys can come in and out, and most of the guys will stay in there. But man, I opened that up, and I was standing about 5 feet away, and one of the bees came flying over to me and bumped me. And then he bumped me again. And I'm just like, dude, you don't even know that it was me that was in that hive. I'm just the nearest human you see, and your instinct is to just come bump
He was
me.
right, though.
He was
right,
right.
though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, well. His instincts were right, and you're questioning the dude.
I mean,
Back
he
off.
didn't.
I don't understand. You changed the geometry of their hive to make it so they only had one hole out? I don't understand.
Yes.
What were you doing?
Why?
Doc's upset that he wasn't able to trick a bee, and he's now criticizing the bee for having good instincts about him being a dodgy guy. When he was.
I had a bunch of little bastards bumping at me when I was staying in the deck near them. The little shits. They're very territorial.
No, the bump. The bump is the
Maybe it
step
wasn't a
before
honeybee.
sting. Yeah, the bump.
Right? No, I know.
The bump is a level
kinda
of
worry me.
respect for you. What I did is when you relocate a hive from one location to another, you don't want to open up the front doors all the way. You want to just leave a little crack, so the bulk of the bees stay in there for a couple days. That way they get used to that way they can feel the environmental changes, and especially with me probably changing the altitude that they had to change, it's probably a good idea that they stay in there a little longer. And since I know they've got enough food and such for the next couple days, we should be fine.
How much altitude did they gain?
At least 200 feet, but maybe as high as maybe as 5 or 600 feet, because I don't exactly know where they were sitting.
Not like 500 meters or something like that.
No.
Yeah. They'll be fine.
Somewhere between 50 to 150 meter increase is what they received, is the difference.
No, if nothing else, if it'll be interesting, if it's just a very, very hardy hive, even if you can't do anything with it, if you can just keep it alive, then if you get a situation when all of your other hives have died, you can go and see how they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect experiment. It's exactly what I want. The queen was born in West Virginia, so she was born not very far away.
Yeah.
So.
Local girl.
Local girl, yep. No, totally worth the experiment. I will probably be wearing a veil when I get into that hive. I probably won't be able to do my typical not wearing a veil. But
I think you can. You just remember, mind over matter.
I know.
Do you think that you could do it if you had me and Golf there providing smoke from smoking?
Yes, in your mind.
Would that work?
Smoke.
Would that work like the smoking technique that you do works? Could you use that as a substitute? Could you say smoke there, guys, and would that work in the same way with the bees?
If you guys If there was no tobacco in your mix, then yes, it would work.
Could arrange that.
Tobacco is very harmful for bees.
Right. But okay, that might be a problem.
But most other smoke is not. Most other smoke is not.
Okay.
But tobacco is a natural insecticide. So
how does it make smoke? What sort of smoke is it that you use for bees?
I burn leaves. I burn leaves, cardboard, and
Okay.
like grass and straw.
Cardboard, that's chemicals. Oh.
Cardboard's not as much chemicals as you think it is.
Paper.
The reason I do cardboard, it burns slow. It smolters. I want it to smolter. I want to produce a lot of smoke. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, that's gonna be. I'm very interested to play around. I'm very interested to play around with this hive. So this is the this is now the 11th hive I have on the property. So.
So how many of you that are alive?
Say that again.
So you've not got 11 hives on your property at the moment, right? That's
Yes.
11 total.
No, there's 11. I have 10 queens I have 10 queens inside hives on the property, and
Okay.
I have one hive that I don't know. I don't know if the queen has emerged yet or not.
Okay.
So.
I didn't realize you got that many together so far. You've been splitting quite a bit.
I've been splitting quite a bit, yeah. And I mean, the people around me think I'm crazy. They're just like, yeah, but this is prime honey season. You know, you could be making, you could be making all this honey. And I'm just like, I'd rather right now actually have more bees than honey. I want the diversity right now, and next year I can really focus on the honey, or I can do the experiments with the diversity and see if it actually works. Because that's really what we're looking for, is trying to have more bees. Because the main reason I have the bees is for the pollination. Because, I mean, the pear and apple trees that I have are just, they're crazy how many pears and apples I have on my trees. And that's because of the bees. And once they get in and start pollinating some of the different types of vegetables that we got growing, nothing better than bees to pollinate. So that'll be very fun and exciting to do. But yeah, I put those bees up in the market garden. The one thing I do need to do is I'm going to do the trick with those bees where I get something that smells like a human, and I'm going to ball it up, and I'm going to put it inside the hive, so it regularly smells people hormones.
Don't put your socks in there.
Yeah, Lisa said I'm not allowed to put my socks in there though, so I mean I don't want to kill the bees, but
Oh Lord, those socks. I'd be able to eat the honey then. We'd have to burn the hive. Lost cause.
You would have to burn the hive, yes.
We've actually got bees not far from our base in Minecraft. I don't know if you guys know.
Oh,
They are still there as well. I did just run past and I saw a bee.
Hey,
And I thought, oh, I won't touch it. I'll leave that. I'll leave that for Doc. No, Doc always does the bees. So, but there is a beehive out there.
No, bees are fun. No, it's funny. I was at while I was also at the bee place. I was chatting with the people that own the bee place, and they came up and they're just like, yeah, someone was indirectly talking about you today, and I was like, really? And they're just like, yeah, they were talking about the people came in and they were talking about wanting to get bees, and they wanted to know all the different stuff about raising bees, And she's like, well, so we were telling him about bees, and she's like, oh, no, I know a lot about raising bees. She goes, I just don't want to know what kind of equipment it is. And she's like, well, you got to be careful. And she's like, oh, I'm not too worried. My one neighbor has bees on their porch. And the owners are just like, yeah, we know him. So, because me having bees on my front porch the porch bees really are something that people are just shocked at. Just how you can keep honeybees right there on your front porch. Lisa, have you been stung by the porch bees yet this year?
No, but the cats are terrified to go out for work. I mean, they really scoot around and go fast. I don't
Yeah.
know if they've been stung yet.
Yeah, Lisa pointed out the cats really don't like where some of the porch bees are set up, but they haven't bothered us at all, so. That's probably Fernando, because he saw the bees at one point and would like try to catch them with his paw and flick at them.
Fernando and Tanuki both like
They just zoop.
hesitate, then they take a chance and they just fly or go around real fast.
That's funny.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the cats don't like the porch bees right now. And neither does the one UPS guy. The other UPS guy thinks they're awesome. The one UPS guy, like, he's just petrified every time he comes up on the porch. Even though the hive isn't anywhere even looking. Because I even moved the hive so it's not facing to the stairs anymore. But they still don't like it. So what other fun things should we add into the mix today? We talked a little bit about bees, and we talked about Agenda 21 and taking back control over Agenda 21, and we talked about all the great lies, and we talked about Huckleberry Finn, and we talked about how golf's a zoomer, and what else important things should we cover this evening? Orange cranberry marmalade?
On Sunday, England are playing Italy in the European Cup final. In the most important game, like in European football, there isn't the World Cup that there is. In the most important sport in the world. It's the sport that most people on the planet care about. It's just you guys don't care about it, but the whole rest of the world is like quite interested in the England-Italy game. Like even like people in Brazil that don't really give a shit about our leagues generally will actually be watching that, because it's like, you know, they do like pay attention to that, because it's like, you know, it's a final. And nobody in America even knows, right? It's just not on your news. We get your news, but you don't get our news. That's strange, isn't it? What's that all about?
You know, I'll ask some of my friends that are sports people. I'll ask them if they know who's in the Euro Cup. I'm kind of interested. That actually will be a fun experiment, because these are my friends that like can name like baseball players, like third string baseball pitchers. But I don't know if they'll know who's in the Euro Cup. So.
Or if the Euro Cup was on at the moment.
Mhm. I mean, I know when we used to go.
I honestly didn't know the Euro Cup was on at the moment, to be honest.
I mean, I know like when we used to go to our favorite Mexican restaurant here, they used to always have football on, and most of the time they were watching Latin American teams, but every once in a while they had other stuff. So yeah, Dematra, on Sunday, well, it'd be Monday for you, right? Yeah, on Monday, hit me up on Discord. So, I will help direct you in the right direction. You know, that's something I don't know. That is really interesting. I wonder if to my friends if I'm allowed to stream something that I'm paying for on TV, like on cable.
You can if you're doing commentary.
No, I mean if I'm just doing it for my friends, since you guys can't come over to my house right now. You guys can't be at my house.
I
If
don't
I'm just
believe so.
like if I'm just sharing it with if I, like let's just say I was sharing something with you and Mark and maybe Yam. Like
I think that'd be okay, but I don't think you go to broadcast.
oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm not talking about broadcasting. I'm not talking about streaming anything. I was just talking about like Discord and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's a
That's the
really
same thing, though. It's not
it
any
is
different.
it is and
It's just less likely to have people snitch, cuz.
I mean, I know how I
I
could
think
do. I
it
know how I could.
depends on the case by case basis and how they've
Yeah,
worded the contract that you've
yeah,
entered into.
you're
Like
right.
it, I think that they will it'll say something like you can't broadcast to an audience or something like that, which will then is such a vague open into interpretation thing that they'll say, oh yeah, no, if you've got your friends around and they're all watching your telly, then that's fine, but you can't then, send that out through the internet for your friends to watch it through their tellies. That's not the same.
Well, I mean, technically, he wouldn't be sending
So,
it to us. He would be sending it to the Discord servers, and they would be relaying it to us.
I mean, I
and
know
you'd
there.
then be watching it on your separate tellies. So
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know ways to actually. There is actually legal ways to get around doing that because there is ways to publicly broadcast things that you've already paid. That's why bars can play it on multiple TVs. Um, I know I couldn't stream it like on one of the streaming services. That's a no-no.
I don't know. I might know one you could.
I think let's say you've just paid for a film,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think there are ways that you can then just start publicly broadcasting it. There might be some ways that you can get around certain ways, but you start doing that with certain things and you'll get stopped.
Well, no, like for example, if like the reason like with big screen, one of the programs that I play in VR with, um, big stream allow if you have the rights to play that video, like if it's something that they have it written, if it's something that you and your friends would watch at your house, then they have a number of like depending on if it's a sporting event or a movie or something, they have a number of people that are allowed in your room at a time and they say that that's not breaking any copyright or terms of services because I mean
Yeah, it is.
the numbers like
They're
3
wrong.
to 7 the numbers like
They're
3 to
wrong.
7.
They're wrong. Like, that's a ridiculous thing for them to say if they're saying that. They're just wrong. Like, in which country are you saying to start with? Like, copyright laws on a case-by-case basis in each country that applies to the particular person that's making that claim. So maybe they're talking about in America, possibly.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
that certainly wouldn't apply to me. American law doesn't mean anything to me in my country. With British stuff on a British website, to me, what's America got to do with me? Nothing.
Okay, so
We
here's a
all
question.
can't sit around and drink tea and eat
So-
crumpets.
So here's a question for you, Mark. This is interesting. If they broadcasted the show on BBC, like they broadcasted the game on BBC, but I was watching the show on ESPN. Would you then be able to watch the show on ESPN? If I was allowed to show it. Would you
You'd be breaching the contract that you'd purchased the show under. In the contract, when you buy something, you enter into a contract that is written somewhere.
No. Hold on. No. What I'm asking is, let's say I'm allowed to show it. Let's say I am allowed to show it. Okay, would you be allowed to watch it? Because you don't have
show it to who? Are you allowed to show it to a paying audience?
No, I'm not allowed to show. I'm allowed to show it to a non-paying audience. But because you don't have a BBC license, would you be allowed to watch it if you didn't pay for it? If it was originally broadcast on BBC.
If you're retransmitting it then I don't know, but I would
Okay.
imagine that every contract is written now so that you can't do that.
Okay.
You know, I think the term that they use is like a book. Like you've got to
Okay.
use it when you buy it. You use it like a book, and there can only be one version of it anywhere. And like if it's possible that two people can access that data at the same time, then actually you've broken that contract.
I got you.
No, you can do it whether you're streaming it on YouTube or Discord or on somebody's little installation of their own version of Twitch that they've installed somewhere. Then it doesn't make any difference. You're either breaching that or you're not. If you're streaming it via anything at all, your own webcam. If you point your own webcam at your own screen for your friend to see it, then you're breaching that.
Okay, so what if someone was streaming it at the game? Could you watch their stream?
Well, no. I mean, you can't why won't DLive let you do that?
No. So like, does your
How about this, Doc? You're asking me what is the actual legal line. The actual legal line is what DLive let you do.
Oh no. No, I wasn't
If
actually
DLive don't let you do so, like DLive didn't even let the dude sit there pretending to play the boxing game when he was watching the live boxing match, right? They should have let him get away with that, but they didn't because they knew that actually that's over the line. You can't do that sort of shit because they knew that if that went to court, then they'd lose, and they would. You can't. It's just subjective. There isn't a line, but it would just be decided in court by a judge and some sensible people that would decide if somebody was taking the piss or not.
Gotcha. So that's why some people get away with it on Periscope and some people don't get away with it on.
Because nobody's taken them to court. Nobody cares enough to spend the money to take them to court, and they know that they can do that. So the more that someone's not willing to take you to court, the more you can take the piss. But the more established you are, like the closer you are to YouTube or DLive, then the closer to actually following the law that you've got to go.
Well, I don't know. You can pretty well listen to whatever music you want on DLive.
DLive would love to allow people to just play, Sheryl Crow songs on a loop and for them to collect lemons, right? But they can't do that. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, well, they'd love them to play blockbuster movies all the time on DLive as well and collect lemons. But yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah. So like DLive have pushed it to the limit, or if DLive and Twitch, and like the industry's been doing that for 20 years, right? So we know where the line is. It's what you can get away with on mainstream sites.
Well, I mean, there is still hope. There is the OSP project.
No, but it's still. But what I understand, what Mark's saying is that even with that, if they choose to sue you, it doesn't matter. That
you
wouldn't
are correct.
Yeah. So going back to the whole thing, it all depends on how the copyright is enforced, and that makes sense.
Who's got the biggest lawyer? Is what
Who's got the biggest?
I like to think I have the biggest lawyer, but I don't know. I've never been sued.
Lawyer, not Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that is, but okay.
Let's see. In America, it starts at 2. It starts at noon. No. It starts at 11 p.m.
What it does?
At midnight. The game.
Wait, midnight. Midnight starts at 11 p.m. That can't be right.
No, well, I mean, it has, because everything in America has 2 numbers, because there's probably an hour, there's probably a whole hour before the game starts that, they have to talk about.
Right.
They have to talk about something.
Well, football, probably.
Yeah. To explain to Americans what it is. Okay, so here's what you're gonna see. This is why they're not touching it with their hands.
Americans just won't be watching. They just won't know. They'll be just doing something else. Don't care about football. Even though it's the best sport. The whole rest of the world agrees. Except for maybe India. I think cricket's better. No other major country in the world thinks that football isn't the best sport. No, maybe Australians would disagree with that as well, probably. Sri Lankans, maybe. There's a few of them. Most people. Like all of South America, Africa, Europe. You guys are like, now we've got our own football. It's called American football, and we compete in the World Super Bowl,
Oh,
Yes.
where we
no,
compete against American teams in American football, and that makes us the best in the world at
Yes.
American football.
Yes. Which I don't know if you guys saw this. Speaking of sports and such, you
You
saw
invented your own sport that only you play so that you can win it. That's what you did. Don't say you didn't. We saw you do it.
that. So you did
Play
got
rugby. Play rugby like the rest of us. Stop that nonsense and just play rugby or football. What are you doing?
You did.
Absolute nonsense.
You did see that there's not going to be any fans during any of the games during the Olympics now. So
Wasn't
no
it
fan-
because they started chanting racial slurs?
No, it's because of the Delta or the Epsilon or whatever the new
Wait,
variant is.
Say that again. No fans
No fans. Yeah, no fans
at all.
at all. None.
Really?
Yep.
No. Just a completely fanless Olympics. Just completely just behind closed doors.
Here, let me. I'll bring it up and.
Really, they're actually doing that. Seriously.
Mhm. I'll take
Wow.
the visual.
Know that. That's a big deal. The Olympics. It's just them flexing their muscles. They can do that because they completely control that institution. But and that will. It's a spell to make people think that
Nope. Yeah. No fans will
But
be
they'll-
allowed. No fans will be allowed at the events.
What about competitors? Any of those going? Or
Yeah, no competitors. There's going to be no competitors allowed at the Olympics. No athletes allowed at the Olympics this year.
considered too risky?
They're saying that the amount of money that it's going to lose is just unbelievable.
Yeah, what about the city that hosted? I mean,
It was a very going back to the whole sports thing that you were talking earlier, Doc, about the laser. Was it someone shining a laser pen at the goalkeeper or something? You were saying.
Yeah.
It was bizarre because it was an extremely poor penalty by
really sucks.
Jesus, I've forgotten the name of the England captain and striker. That's how his name now. Jesus. The dude, really good player. Terrible penalty. He scored more penalties for England than any other player in history. He's quite well capped now. He's played quite a few games. But one of the worst penalties he's ever done. And it bounced off the goalkeeper and he scuffed it back in. But I don't think the keeper was getting it anyway. It's maybe he was unsighted for the actual kick, but he saved it, and it wasn't like he was going to get the rebound.
Here, I'll share the screen so you can see it. This is the video and the laser pointer that they supposedly said.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that wasn't actually during the actual kick, though, was it? That was just a laser point. Yeah, but that's not on his eye when the kick's played, though. Or maybe it. Harry Kane.
that's
Yeah,
obviously a Terminator unit. It found its prey.
penalty.
It's gonna
The
kill him and morph into him.
The shape of Kane's body when he hits the ball, it's like totally closed and not right. He's not freely hitting the ball. It's weird. It's like not a proper penalty, and like that could be completely fake. I don't know what we're looking at there. Have we seen that from multiple?
Let me just give that a second. Let me
Kane penalty. Oh.
Yeah, I can't spell.
Kayne.
Yeah, we'll bring this up. We'll
That's talking about whether or not it was a actual penalty, not the laser. I think that shit goes on all the time. Like, people do take laser pens into stadiums and shine them at the players. That's like one of the main jobs of the stewards, is to keep an eye on that.
and it was Kane was the one that did the
Harry Kane, yeah.
I've not seen this. I've actually not seen the shot, so I'm kind of interested to.
Terrible penalty.
Oh,
Yeah, it was low and soft and easy for the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper should have just touched it around the post, but because it was such an easy penalty, sort of half tried to actually catch it, but then fumbled it a bit, and because of that it bounced back when he should have just tipped it around the post and got rid of it and given away a corner, but he tried to actually just be a hero and catch it clean, and because of that Kane got the rebound. But he wasn't going to, when Kane got to the rebound, the goalkeeper stood no chance. He was never going to get it. It wasn't like if he was unsighted, it didn't make any difference.
Maybe they'll show the highlight in this one
What?
instead of.
Because the stewards are watching, and there's a load of dudes standing all around the crowd, all around the stand, right? They're wet stadium, right? But they're going to just wait until they get to them.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, okay. So here's. Is this the penalty? I guess maybe I'll roll back. Oh. We had just watched.
Sorry about that, buddy. Just yeah,
That's
you
okay.
didn't do a particularly good job with your back. I was never getting to it, and right. So even that, I think there was a dude that was, well, the actual reality of it.
Gotcha. No, it'll be interesting. It'll be an I'll be very interested in watching the match on Sunday midnight.
Well, the only other thing that England have ever won was the World Cup in '66.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We never, and this is the only other final that we've ever been in.
Oh crap.
The goal doesn't look like the goalkeeper was unsighted, does it?
No.
A terrible penalty. You see, like you either you don't hit it there. You hit it in one of the corners, or you hit it or maybe down the middle really hard, and high in the middle, or top corners. You don't just to one side. You completely telegraphed it. Like what you do is you shape like that. Maybe like you're going to kick it to that side, but you don't actually kick it to that side. And you just literally just did a terrible kick. Pretended to do a terrible kick and did a terrible kick.
Golf, are you around, Golf? Are you going to be playing any more Minecraft this evening? Guess he's not around.
He'll probably play a little bit more, I expect.
I was just curious if he was going to stream or not. If I was going to
See if he wants to host.
Yep. Here, by the way, guys, if you're not, there's Golf's link here on DLive. Me and Mark are over there every once in a while playing some Minecraft with him. So if you guys want to watch him play Minecraft and listen to the banter, you guys go check out his site. Plus help a brother out. He's he's new to the streaming, at least to these parts of the streaming world, and 27 people. We at least can get him up to 50. But yeah, I think with that I'm gonna wrap it up for the evening, and we'll catch back up on some more chit chat about this kind of stuff next week. I'll try to get something a little bit better planned, but also through the rest of the course of this week. By the way, anybody's welcome to join the Discord if you guys want to just come and just regularly hang out with us and see what we're doing and just chit chat about all the fun stuff. There's our Discord again. You guys are welcome to jump on in and shoot the shit with us. I will be as soon as I'm ready to get into the hot bees. I'll videotape getting into the hot bees so you guys can since you guys all think it's funny to see me get stung, because I'm pretty sure I'll get stung a few times with the hot bees, at least until they get to know me better. So I'll make sure I live stream that so you guys can watch that as well. And maybe a couple more Let's Feed the Chickens. But anyways, friends, thank you guys all for joining. Thank you, Mark and Yam and Golf and everybody that was around today. everybody that's regularly hanging out. Thank you guys all as well. And I think, unless Mark and Yam and anybody else has anything else to say, I think I will leave it at that.
All good.
Well,
Thanks for hosting the show.
yep. Well, you guys have a good rest of the evening, and I will exit us out with some music.